Imagine you're a freshly drafted rookie quarterback about to strap on the pads, but Bill Belichick is staring daggers at you from the other side of the field. This is straight nightmare fuel. For decades, Belichick built a reputation for ruining rookie quarterbacks, consistently devising the perfect game plan to expose their flaws. How did one coach always have so much success against rookies compared to all other coaches? What were his secrets? Today we have 3 games against 3 rookies. Justin Herbert lost 45-0 in Week 13 in 2020, Sam Darnold got smoked 38-3 Week 17 back in 2018, and Zack Wilson lost 25-6 in Week 2 of 2021. All rookies, all against Belichick, all utter misery. Throughout these 3 games, there were 3 principles I discovered in each of Belichick's game plans. Lots of man coverage. He would do whatever he could to take away your first read, so the rookie had to sit in the pocket and go through his progressions. And he would always do something to create pressure and make them uncomfortable in some way. We'll start with Herbert back during the COVID season, and despite the QB having one of the greatest rookie years ever, in this one he completed just 49% of his passes, 3.9 yards per attempt, and threw 2 picks with obviously no touchdowns. On the first third down of the game, Belichick uses 2 of the 3 principles. The Patriots are in man coverage, where everybody is one-on-one, and Belichick uses a little coverage wrinkle to take away Herbert's first read. He can't really tell if the Pats have 1 high or 2 high safeties. I like to call one defender, often this second safety, the joker, meaning the coordinator can move him around to do anything on the field. He can drop back as a second deep safety, relieving some stress on the underneath defenders. He can drop down to cover a guy to help a corner blitz. He can play an underneath zone. He can blitz himself, or he can bracket a receiver, which is what he does. This allows Jonathan Jones to play outside on Jalen Guyton, and you can see this right side is where Herbert's first read is. This forces him to sit in the pocket and go through his second and third reads, challenging for any rookie quarterback to do without panicking, and he can't convert the first down. The entire game, Belichick often rushed just 3 defenders so he could keep another body in coverage. Watch out when Herbert goes back towards his shallow route, that extra pass rusher is now a zone defender and creates extra coverage on the route that Herbert ends up targeting and not converting. Once the Chargers realized that Belichick was calling almost exclusively man coverage, they went to their man coverage beaters, but that's the thing. Belichick knows going to each week he's playing man, so he's going to practice against the offense's man beaters Monday, Tuesday, every day through Sunday, and he always had a specific plan against each man beater. The Chargers run a classic man beater called mesh, where these 2 receivers run super tight together crossers trying to pick off their man defenders, and if there's a middle zone linebacker who helps with a crosser, there's an over-the-ball route settling in right behind him. The Pats have 5 on the line, but again, they just rush 3. They use linebacker John Simon to bang a crosser right next to him, then bangs the other crosser coming from the other side. When Herbert gets to the top of his drop, not only is nobody open, but guys are far away from their landmarks. This is disconcerting to any quarterback, let alone one in just his 11th start ever, and Belichick just kept making him more and more uncomfortable. The Chargers tried running mesh a bunch of times because that's their man beater, but the Patriots were so ready for it because they'd simply practice against it over and over because they knew they'd see it. An additional part to one of Belichick's core principles is to always take away not just the first read, but the first read to force a more difficult throw. So watch how the tight man coverage affects the mesh concept. Then Herbert has to hold the ball, and throw a deep sail route that he can't quite fit in. Then Belichick used his third principle, create pressure, to start rattling Herbert. The old Cougar used a bevy of stunts, which are basically where 2 linemen switch responsibilities. One is the penetrator that crosses the face of his lineman to one side to open space for the looper who replaces that open gap. A good O-line with good communication can consistently pass off stunts, but the Chargers struggled with it all day. And what's even worse, once again on just a 3-man rush, the penetrator, the guy closer to Herbert, kept getting sacks, so there were 8 bodies dropping into coverage, just 3 rushing the passer, yet they were still getting quick and easy pressure. This affected Herbert, and while we've seen him be pretty accurate and composed his entire career, all the pressure, all the tight man coverage, all his first reads being taken away, created some wild throws. And speaking of wild throws, rookie year Sam Darnold had no idea what was in store for him heading into week 17, where he was epically blown out 38-3. Right off the bat on the first play of the game, Belichick's core principles were on display. Tight man coverage, first read, gone. Make the quarterback make the hardest throw possible, and we'll see some of his pressure plans in a second. Darnold wants this ISO route to Robbie Anderson against Stephon Gilmore. Anderson was really the Jets' only viable receiving threat in 2018. Darnold had nobody to throw to. But with Gilmore, who would win Defensive Player of the Year next season on him, and the safety shaded over the top, Darnold's first read is gone, then look at how challenging any of these throws are down the field. Because the Jets' receivers room was nothing to write home about, Belichick could use 5-man fronts to make Darnold uncomfortable. He could put more guys on the line since he knew his guys could match up one-on-one, so he used 5-man twists, where because they were now 5 against 5, this forced the Jets to check into 5-0 calls, where each guy has to be one-on-one because of the numbers. Then when you stunt or twist just one guy inside, it is so much harder because each lineman is manned up and not sliding towards a side with extra help. You can see Dante Hightower on the other side not rushing, but making sure Darnold doesn't run up the middle, then bounces outside to make sure he doesn't escape out to the left. Belichick also used extremely exotic fronts to confuse Darnold too. We have just one D lineman, 2 linebackers, a safety, and cornerback on the ball, so who knows who's going to rush? This allows Belichick to drop the corner Jonathan Jones off to help take care of Darnold's first read. And while yes, this is a completion, again, that same part of Belichick's principles forced them to make the hardest possible throws. Darnold probably played the best of the 3 rookie quarterbacks from today. He didn't completely implode and didn't throw any picks. But when we look at our third and final game, the same can definitely not be said for Zack Wilson. Again, Belichick used plenty of tight man coverage, took away Wilson's first read consistently, and rattled him with a variety of pressures that caused him to throw an interception not just on the first, but also his second attempt of the game. I actually put this one on the design of the offense. This is a 3-level sail concept where one receiver runs off the coverage deep, so the 2 receivers can stretch out the one defender, so Wilson just targets the intermediate or flat receiver. But the Jets have a slow, tight end as the runoff guy, so it allows more defenders to hang around, and while Zach should have hit this throw in the flat, it's an interception. The man coverage element was the #1 main constant throughout all the games. In this one, the Patriots felt pretty comfortable just playing one high man coverage and going mano-a-mano, but it was always these little tiny wrinkles Belichick specifically game planned and tailored to each individual matchup. He knew by blitzing a linebacker directly up the middle, it would rattle Zack Wilson. They're not necessarily scheming this up to be a free rusher up the middle, but knowing Zach will get uncomfortable with the pressure, the mistake and discomfort are why they kept rushing up the gut. At times they'd rush 2 up the middle even. They also played press man coverage where they'd throw off Zach's timing, then have a backer there to hit him in the face even if they couldn't get there for the sack. With all the interior pressure they kept sending, Zach began to wilt. He became more skittish in the pocket, he didn't want to get hit, he became increasingly more wild, so when Belichick threw even the slightest curveball at him, where instead of playing man coverage, the Patriots dropped into soft cover 2 zone, Zach was still uncomfortable in a clean pocket. This is again the sail concept. I can't even tell who he's trying to throw to. And this is the 3rd of his 4 interceptions on the day. You can see him anticipating, feeling the pressure before it gets there. On just a 3-man rush with no blitzers, look how he starts to slide out of a clean pocket, then kinda off balance throws a terrible pass. Bill Belichick made a name for himself tormenting all quarterbacks his entire career, even veteran legendary quarterbacks. So when he'd come up against a rookie who wasn't ready to handle little curveballs here and there, Belichick ate him alive. Against the young bloods, he always made sure to play lots of man coverage, do whatever he could to take away their first read, and throw little wrinkles in there to make them feel pressure, making them play uncomfortable. As each individual play started, he wanted you to look up and see something you weren't expecting, and young rookie quarterbacks just don't have the poise to handle that down in and down out. He finished 22-7 against him throughout his career. At one point, it was 21-5. And while his legend is cemented in the past, the chills, the nightmares, the terrors rookies dealt with waking up on those Sunday mornings, they will remember them now and every day forever.